Hi there, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to use these two beautiful chameleon mica powders and these three molds. Now these, we've got them as a set of three, but you can purchase them individually. They are from Temu, these molds, and I'm not sure if we showcased them in our recent mega Temu haul or not, but why not go and have a look in our playlist, check it out and see what we did get. That's not a sponsored video, we just treated ourselves. Also going to use these vintage style stickers, and by vintage I mean 1920s, 30s, maybe 1940s sort of style of Christmas themed stickers. You'll see what I mean when you see them. Look at those there. Now in this pack, there's a pack of I think about 50, and none of them are repeated, so there's lots to choose from. Right, so yes, you haven't seen me mix up any resin because I am using leftover resin from the ballet dancer video. If you've not seen that, why not check that out, and you'll see me mixing up the resin and adding the chameleon powder and so on. Now this resin I'm pouring in here is leftover resin from a project that Wayne, who is also one of the creators here at Lottie Jasmine Designs, he was doing a project, and this is leftover resin that I've then popped a bit of my favourite glitter into, and just topping up this mould, so making sure we're going right to the edges of the mould. Now there is a lot of detail in this mould. These frames are stunning. They are exactly like the ornate style of frames that maybe you'd see in museums and art galleries that have got like old masters in them. Your Rembrandts, you know, that sort of thing. Picasso, Dali. No, maybe not Salvador Dali. He did the more surrealist kind of thing. Monet as well, that sort of thing. So this is the other leftover resin we had. So this is in the other colour. So you've got a warm gold colour, and then you've got this sort of reddish, almost with a little bit of a blue hue to it, sort of chameleon powder. And they have got the most beautiful colour shift to them when you look at them in different lights or from different angles. And yes, I did go on and make a ballet dancer in every single colour of the powder that's there. And there are 8 of them, but they look stunning. So just got enough resin left over to fill up this little one that's coming into shot now. So it's zoomed out slightly so you can see what I'm doing. And in case you're wondering what I'm working on, that's just like a regular tray underneath, a flat tray. And then I've got a sheet of baking parchment or baking paper over the top, bit of greaseproof, because we found that resin doesn't stick to it, which is great. So it's a very easy cleanup then. For us anyway, for me, because if you're like me, you tend to can get a bit messy when you're creating, but you know, as a creative person, you're allowed to be a bit messy. So just making sure I'm getting every last little bit of the coloured resin into there. Now the resin that we're using is Tea Expert resin. That's our resin of choice currently. We're not sponsored by them. Oh, if only we were. Well, you never know, one day perhaps. And it's a 1-to-1 mixing ratio, hardly any bubbles when you mix it. Make sure you do mix for at least 3 to 5 minutes, slowly, steadily, scraping around the sides of the container that you're mixing it in, and obviously along the bottom and off of the front and back of the stir stick or the mixing stick that you are using. So now we're going to go around the edges and in some of the detail parts with this micro brush. I love micro brushes. They are so useful and very inexpensive to purchase. But all I'm doing is just pushing down into the little detail of the mould with the resin. On the end of that little purpley coloured piece of plastic stick is a tiny bit of foam. Now, quite often, to be honest with you, the resin on it will harden, and then we do then is remove the bit of foam, the little foam pad, and then we've got it's got a nice little, not sharp, but a more pointed end to it, which is then excellent for popping bubbles that come to the surface and doing other things. Now, I've still got some of this other leftover resin, which was clear resin that I've added my favourite glitter to. And I'm now just going in and filling up the rest of the mould. So filling in where that space is in the middle, and making sure that around the edges, it goes right up to the top of the mould. So just getting every little last bit there. Now, bits of this video have been sped up. That's just to make sure that you're not sitting here for over an hour watching me. But then this is 24 hours later. They are still a little bit pliable, a little bit flexible. And all we're doing here is we're pulling the mould away from the resin, not the resin piece out of the mould. And look at this, nice and clean away from the mould. That's that one. And then this is the bigger one. So that was the medium size. This is the big. And then obviously we've got the small one as well. There we go. So I can see already we've got a little bit of clean up to do on this one. There you go. Can you see we've got a little bit of overpour there? This easily comes off. It's quite thin. And whilst it's still quite malleable, you can just remove it with your fingers, maybe a little pair of scissors. Just go in and give it a little snip. Now, this is the smaller one. So we're just pulling the sides of the mould away from it. So it's just pull and then push and then pull and then push. And it comes out and it comes away. Now, look, this is the small one. Do you see what I mean now about the detail, the level of detail? I'm really sorry, my camera's really not picking it up too well, but that is gorgeous. Now, they have a matte finish, as you can see. Look at this one, a bit more detail on that one. Even the beading around the very edge of the frame on the inner part, you know, the scroll work. It's gorgeous. We do actually have a mirror that's got this sort of frame at home here. And this is the large one. So we're going to go in and just clean up those outer edge bits with a bit of overpour. Make sure you're completely happy with it. There we go. There's the three of them. And these are some of these beautiful vintage style. Then they are stickers, although you don't have to peel the backs off if you don't want to. There are 50, I believe, in this pack. Again, these are from Temu. So the molds are from Temu, the stickers are from Temu, the resin and the chameleon mica powders are from Amazon, but everything we use in this video in the way of projects will be linked in the description box below. So I've made my choice. I rather like that one. Now you can have it landscape or portrait. This one's portrait. The first one was landscape. And then this one, I couldn't really find one small enough. So I've decided, yeah, I'm going to cut one up. Which some people might say, oh, it's sacrilege. But I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to have Santa Claus or Father Christmas's face in that one. So all we've taken the mould, peel off the backing. Try and get it positioned correctly first time before you've completely stuck it down. Otherwise, it can be quite difficult to peel them back up and remove them. Now, look, this isn't right. This is just not, no, it's not right. So, in we go. There we are. Look, little pokey bit of the end of the micro brush. See, as I told you, they've got loads of uses. And then just reposition it and get it as close to the center as you possibly can. And then just seal it down by rubbing over it with your finger. You don't have to use a gloved hand, but, you know, I tend to wear gloves for everything. So that's all completely sealed now down to the surface there. Look at that. And you can see a bit more of those details of the frame close up. So this is the second one. This is the child all dressed up, ready to go out on the sledge. Look at that. And there we go. Of course, you can put whatever pictures you like. As I said, you could put a picture, if you've got a nice little picture of, if you've got a dog, you know, your favourite dog or cat or anything at all, really. I did make some more of these in a different colour, using different colour shift, in sort of, I think it was blues and purples and sort of greyish sort of tones to it. Looks stunning, and I've put in butterflies of a similar colour. Unfortunately, you won't see those. You will see them if you meet us at our craft fair, which we're going to. Excuse me. That is on, it's the 5th or 6th of December. I nearly said September. Of December. And it's on a Friday. And it's at Spike Island Creative Centre here in Bristol in the UK. We will be there. For their Christmas fair. We'll have a stand. So if you watch our videos, you know us, come on over and say hi. It'll feel a bit surreal for us, but, you know, it'll be fun. So here we go. My apologies. I'm cutting this up. That's my first apology, is that I'm actually cutting one of these up. My second is the fact that it's not completely in shot. But you know what it's like. You get into the zone. You're concentrating on what you're doing, not necessarily thinking about where your hand is, where the camera shot is. Yeah, but there we go. I'm sure you all know how to cut out something. So there we are. Not quite done, so just giving it a bit more of a trim up. A bit more of a trim. Just using these lovely little scissors, which I did actually purchase from a craft fair a while ago. But they are made by a company called Millward, Millward, and they've got what they call is it swan neck on them. If you Google Millward swan neck scissors, you'll see what I mean. They're supposed to be used for things like embroidery and stitching, and if you do that sort of thing, tapestry. But I tend to use mine for lots of the more sort of smaller, intricate type of work that happens. There we go. There he is, Santa, Father Christmas in all his glory. So we're going to stick him down as well. So just peeling off the back. And then there we go, finding where it needs to be in the frame, hoping it's the right size. There we go. And then just smoothing it down with your finger. Just make sure it's completely adhered to the surface of the frame there, of the resin. There we are. So that's the small one. There's the medium-sized one. They look beautiful. And here's the bigger one as well. So I'm just going to zoom out so that you can see all three of them. Sorry about the wobbly camera. Must get the stand fixed. But yeah, just make sure they're all completely stuck down firmly to the frame before you do your next step. Now we're going to use some J-Diction UV resin. And what we're going to do, as this bit has been sped up because this took me a little while, we're going to, as you can see, we're going to put some inside that aperture or that space, and then just smooth it over all the way out to the edges of the inner part of the frame there, using, yes, you've guessed it, a micro brush. UV light coming up, and then curing it with the UV light, the UV torch. This one wouldn't work properly for some reason. So what I did do is off camera, once I'd done all of them as a basis with the torch, I then put them under the much bigger UV lamp that we've got. Now, of course, you don't have to use UV resin. You can use regular resin if that's what you want to do. But the UV resin was to hand, and I just wanted it just to create a barrier so that the sticker was completely sealed in, nice and smooth to the touch, and yeah, just sort of gave it that extra shiny surface. There we are. Because you don't want to sort of sell these or give these away and then find that someone says, well, actually the sticker peeled off, or you know, it didn't last very well. But yeah, so that's the small one done, the medium-sized one done, and then this one, this beautiful angel here. Have any of you appeared in the nativity plays at school? You know, or in church, if you go to church, or if you have the equivalent in the religion that you follow, or maybe you don't follow a religion, but you like the whole idea of Christmas and what it celebrates. You know, the fact that you're being thankful for what you've got, you enjoy being with family and friends and company. There we go. I know when I was little, I think my mum's got a picture of me 4 years old dressed as an angel, wearing one of my dad's old white shirts back to front and with a tinsel halo. Have any of you got any photos like that? I have. But there we go. So that's all three of the beautiful frames here with their pictures. Now, you could leave it at that, but I thought that they just needed a bit of something to lift them. And yeah, these are some rather lovely metallic paints. 6 different colours. Gorgeous. And we like these so much that I ordered some more in a whole raft of other colours. Now these are from Temu. I'll put a link in the description box for you. I'm just showing you all the ones that are in there. I made my decision as to which ones to use, and here are some more micro brushes. There we go. Now these are acrylic metallic paints. A little goes a long way. Now look at this. Can you see how it's, apologies for all the glare there and the reflection. But can you see how it's just picking up that bit of detail? Now at this point I wasn't sure how much I was going to paint and how much I was going to leave as you know, obviously non-painted surface, but this looks beautiful. Obviously you can do as much of this or as little or none at all. I believe there is something called rub and buff as well, which is sounds rude, rub and buff, but you can put that on, and I think that's like a gilding wax. So if you've got a gilding wax, you could do that. If you've got gilding flakes, you could do that as well. But I opted to go with this paint, to try this paint out, because it just looked stunning to me. Now, that was the what I call an antique gold look and colour. We're now going to use this warm coppery colour. And this was very similar to the colour that's in the resin itself. And look at what this does. Can you see there? Sorry, my gloves are rather dirty at this point. And if you're wondering what that blue thing is on my left arm, that's a sleeve protector. I do actually wear sleeve protectors as well. Again, you can purchase, obviously you make sure that you're wearing your nitrile gloves if you're using resin, you're wearing a respirator mask, you're working in a well ventilated room. And if you're like me and your skin is super sensitive, that you also have sleeve protectors on. Because not only does it protect any exposed skin, it also protects your clothing. So there we go. So we just continued on. Can you see? Look at that. See, it just gives it a little something. So you can see a bit more of the detail here that it picks out on these frames when I'm applying this paint. And it's just stunning. I mean, a little paint goes a long way. Now, these bottles of paint aren't very big. But boy, I mean, I think you'd have a lot of projects before you start actually getting anywhere near using it up. But then I suppose it also depends on, you know, what you're going to use it on and the size of the projects you're going to do. Obviously, these aren't very big, so they won't take up a lot of the paint itself. What I might do at some point is see what they're like to use as a pigment in resin, in clear resin, and see what happens, maybe see how they cure. Does it work? Doesn't it work? Because usually you can use regular acrylic paint, as long as you don't use too much, to colour resin itself. You can use it as the pigment colourant to resin. And we've used that in the past before in our videos. If you've not seen any of our videos before, why not have a look at our playlist? We're usually how-to videos. We'll try things first off straight off the cuff usually, first time of doing things, maybe first time of using some of the molds or techniques, and we just show you what happens. We will also show you most of the time if it doesn't go right, and we'll talk about, you know, what we could do to improve it, what we do next time, what would we do anything any different, or would we use a different brand of something, or maybe a different technique. We also take part in some collaborations throughout the year, usually around sort of seasonal things, so Halloween, Valentine's, Christmas, that sort of thing, maybe Easter too. Now, we need to be able to hang these. Now, I'm using, if you don't feel comfortable or confident enough to use one of these Dremel style of drills, then don't. You can, if you've got something called a reamer, which is quite often used when you're making jewellery, then use that and just drill a tiny little hole. Now, if your resin is still soft enough, you may be able to just screw this eyelet screw down into it. Now, all we're doing, look, a sneak preview of a previous project there, because I was making them all at the same time. I've drilled enough of a hole, and I'm just trying to screw this eyelet screw down into the edges of the frame. This is going to create a nice little circle that you can put, or a fixing that you can then thread cord or ribbon or maybe some string, depending on what colours you're using and what theme you're going with for through, so that you can then, there you are, you can see it there, so that you can then actually hang these if that's what you want to do with them. We want to use them or promote them as Christmas decorations or ornaments on a tree. You could decide, if you decide not to do it like that, then, you know, obviously you miss this step out. There we go. So yeah, apologies of what you can see in the background. That's from a couple of videos ago, part of the ballet dancer one. But there we go. So we've done it to the other two as well. There we are, even the little one. You could, of course, just put one in the middle of there if you wanted to. Now, they look a totally different colour in this light. I don't know quite what was going on. I think I did this on a different day. Oh, look, sneak peek here of the ballet dancers in the top left. So we're going to put this cord, which is a little bit too thick and a little bit frayed on the edge, through the first one, and it's a little bit tricky. It's probably a little bit too thick or wide for these, but I persevered because I love the colour of this thread, and you know, I thought it was the best combination for it. Now you can put a bit of glue or a little bit of clear nail polish on the end of that piece of cord there, just to stop it from fraying and trying to get it to, you know, sort of stick together a bit better, or you can just persevere like I have. We are going to finish off these ends anyway. So there we go. We're just going to, there we go. Just going to go through. There we are. And just pull it. Measure out the length that you want and then tie the ends. And there we go. So just going to cut it about there, I think. There we are. Oh, yeah, and then just measure up the ends together so they are together. And I just did a regular knot for this. So there we are. Just turn it around. And a little regular knot. Now, I tend to trim up the ends and then I will heat them using a long-necked lighter just on the ends. It just melts them a little bit so it stops them from fraying. Now, by all means, you don't have to do that. You can put a little bit of glue, you can put a little bit of UV resin on it and cure it, or you can put a bit of clear nail polish, totally up to you. You can also put that on the UV resin or the nail polish on the knot itself, and just repeat the process with that one there. So here is the end shot. Thank you if you've joined us and watched this video. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, why not create a YouTube account and subscribe to our channel. Upload 3 times a week, Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays at 5 PM UK time. And usually how-to videos. Hi to everybody in the live chat. Hope you enjoyed this and we've had a good, you know, conversation with you all. Take care and we'll see you again in a few days' time with another video. Bye.